Now, obviously, with the confirmation that Newcastle have been taken over by the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia and also Amanda Staveley, they're going to rocket up the Premier League table over the next few years, you'd imagine. Being well, 10 times richer than Manchester City. Now, obviously, that doesn't mean that they're going to spend 10 times more than Man City because financial fair play is a thing. I mean, Man City got away with it, but if Newcastle spend 10 times what Man City spent and get away with it, bloody hell. Um, but what was I going to say? Obviously, the amount of money an owner has doesn't correlate to how much they spend. Um, so yeah, but you'd expect them to go up the Premier League table now that they actually have money to spend and they don't have Mike Ashley in charge. So the first thing they're probably going to look to do is getting a manager. Steve Bruce at the moment still has his job, and I think it'd be a bit harsh if they sack him straight away. I think what'll happen is they'll keep him on, and as soon as form goes a bit shaky, because remember, this is a team, like you can't affect the team with investment until the January transfer window. So for the next couple of months, it's going to be more of the same, realistically, unless the new owners has like a sudden uh, impact on morale throughout the players, which I mean, I wouldn't expect it to be that much. But at the moment, they're 19th in the league. So I think if Steve Bruce loses a few of his next few games, then that'll be him gone. So I've picked four candidates for the next manager at Newcastle United. They are Brendan Rodgers, Frank Lampard, Steven Gerrard, and Roberto Martinez. I want to start off with Brendan Rodgers because there's been talk today about the fact that he sort of passed the opportunity to become the Newcastle manager to stay with Leicester City. Obviously, Leicester, past couple of seasons, finished fifth. That's good form, realistically, especially when they're not spending as much as the big four teams, Man City, Man United, Chelsea and Liverpool, because that's what it is now, really. It's a big four. Tottenham and Arsenal have dropped off a bit over the past 2 or 3 years. And I mean, I understand it, but I think this could be an opportunity for him. Because Leicester, I feel, although they are a very well-run club, I feel like there is only so far you can really take Leicester, to be honest. I think maybe that fourth spot is where Leicester should be aiming for every season at the moment. Whereas with Brendan Rodgers going to Newcastle, it gives him the opportunity to sort of start from scratch, build a side that he wants, and yeah, so it could be a big opportunity for him, but he seems to have turned it down. Next, I've gone for Frank Lampard. At the moment, he is the bookies' favourite to take over, and I'm not sure because he hasn't done too badly with every club he's been at. Derby, he took a decent Derby side to a decent position in the league. They finished sixth, I think. So he hasn't really over-exceeded there. Chelsea did well in his first season to get the fourth Champions League spot, which obviously Chelsea won the Champions League last year. If Frank Lampard had to have bottled getting fourth, then they wouldn't have won the Champions League because they wouldn't have been in it. However, in his second season, after all the investment that was made in the summer of 2020, he had the team, I think, 8th at one point in January. So I still don't think he's top level. I think he's average, to be honest. Steven Gerrard, probably the least experienced out of all the managers, especially in the English game. I think the only English team he's actually managed is Liverpool's under-18s. So he's inexperienced in the English game. He's done well in Scotland. He's won Rangers their first Premiership in, I think, a decade. It might have even been that long. But in a long time. Obviously, Rangers had their problems about 8 or 9 years ago, where they got, I think they got relegated 3 leagues down to the Scottish League 2. And he's done really well to manage to take them over the finish line to win the Scottish Premiership. However, there were question marks at times from Rangers fans throughout his first couple of years with Rangers. But he obviously last season, Rangers had a phenomenal season. So he is definitely an option. And the final one I've gone for is Roberto Martinez. Now, Roberto Martinez, he's definitely had good moments at every club I can think of him being at. So the 3 main jobs that come to mind when I think of Roberto Martinez are Wigan, Everton and Belgium. Wigan, they got relegated under him, I think, and he left them as soon as they got relegated. They won the FA Cup with him, which is, again, a brilliant achievement. With Everton, the first season he was at Everton, I recall them having a great season. They finished 5th, I think, in 2013-14. He built a really good side with Ross Barkley, Romelu Lukaku, Gareth Barry, who else was in that side? Kevin Morales, I think, and might also have been Stephen Naismith. So he can build a good side. But however, the longer it went on at Everton, the worse it got, really. 2014-15, drop-off. 2015-16, another drop-off. And with the Belgian national team, I think he's had 2 major tournaments and the Nations League. If 3 major tournaments, as that has to count as a major tournament now, apparently, Nations League. The World Cup, he managed to get Belgium to the semi-final, which, it wasn't bad. They came up against a very, very good France side and lost. So I don't think that's a failure on his part. And the Euros, they lost to Italy in the quarterfinals. I've still got my Euros ball chart up. I've got to taken it down. So, again, Italy, very good side. They went on to win the competition again, same as France did. And in the Nations League just gone, they lost to France, who just won the Nations League. So every big tournament he's been at, his side have lost to the winners, which, I mean, there's not really much shame in that. But again, with the talent this Belgium side has, you could argue that, with FIFA ranking them as the best team on the world, on the planet consistently, you could argue that he could have done better with them. I don't think Roberto Martinez is the manager Newcastle need. Steven Gerrard, I think this... It's difficult, really, because Steven Gerrard, at some point, or you think he's going to move to the Premier League or maybe top team in the Championship. Now, you'd think the Premier League, actually. But is this the time? I'm not entirely sure. I think I think he might even stay at Rangers a couple more seasons. And then when Jurgen Klopp leaves Liverpool in 2024, I think is when he plans on leaving Liverpool. That might be the move for Gerrard. Frank Lampard, obviously just been sacked by Chelsea in January and is looking for a job at the moment, ideally in the Premier League. It could work. I'm not entirely sure it's a great fit though. And Brendan Rodgers, I think he'd be perfect for Newcastle to have as manager throughout this, because as a Liverpool fan, I've experienced how he can build a team. Like I remember 2013-14 season. In the first 6 months he came to the club, he brought in Joe Allen, who a lot of Liverpool fans go at. But Joe Allen was a decent player for us. He played very well the year we nearly won the league in 2014. And in the January transfer window, he bought Daniel Sturridge from Chelsea and Philip Coutinho from Inter Milan for a combined 20 million. Two very, very good signings, goes without saying. And the summer of 2013, he bought Mamadou Sakho from PSG, who had a few good seasons at Liverpool, but sadly it went all wrong for him at Liverpool in the end. And it wasn't even, I'm not sure if it was even his fault in the end. Like the substance was supposedly not even illegal. And who else did he bring in at Liverpool? Simon Mignolet, who had a decent Liverpool career. If you go overall, he made mistakes, but he was a good goalkeeper. So he can build team, Brendan Rodgers, as well as bringing through players like Raheem Sterling, developing them, bringing them into the first 11. So I think if Newcastle can somehow convince Brendan Rodgers to come, I think that is the option. If not, I think probably go for Frank Lampard. It's a bit of a risk with Lampard, but it might be what he needs. But yeah, that's just what I think. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.